Hello there, and welcome to the next episode of the No Lift Powerlifting Podcast. I am your host, Arthur Lynch. Joining me, as per usual, is Adam Keane.
Hello.
And our guest for today's episode is Eamonn Harford of Lake Barbell, where we are right now. So we've just finished up training. I lost my knee wrap virginity today, and
There's a lot of blood.
a lot of blood and a lot of tears.
After.
Yeah, so we'll probably need a bit more of that again after this. But I know it all went well, and a very interesting learning experience for all of us. And so with that all said and done, let's get straight into it. So, Eamonn, how are you doing?
Good. Bit tired. It's very warm.
Yeah.
Had a good session.
Eamonn just finished off with a 340 pause deadlift, which was pretty insane to watch.
At 8 RP, and I thought it was like a 7 maybe.
Yeah.
It could have been a 7, but if I put a belt on, it might be a 6.
Was that beltless?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Damn.
So,
Yeah, that was probably fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of which, so Eamonn, do you want to just give us a bit of your background on lifting, how you kind of got into the sport, and then your best lifts to date?
yeah, cool. So, I started lifting weights when I was about 16. My dad bought me a weight set because I got onto the Northeast rugby panel, which is like a kind of regional panel. And I was like, I wanted to lift weights. I was always a heavy kid, and I wanted to lift weights and get running and all that sort of stuff. Played rugby, played with Barbrigan, then moved to Clontarf for a couple of years, and then went to Skerries. So when I was in Clontarf, I was training with the seniors, doing the weights with them, and the trainer at the time encouraged me to try a strongman competition out, because my dad left when I was like 17, was like 250. So
Your deadlift at 17 was 250.
yeah.
And what? Okay.
After a year's training as well.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I did weigh 17 stone when I was 17. So.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
So
Pretty strong to begin with.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then I competed in the junior Ireland Strongest Man up in Matterfeld against some really strong guys. Christopher Norton was one of them. He's a guy you should get on actually to learn.
Okay.
He's a smart dude, and he came fourth, which put me the highest out of the Republic. The rest of the guys were from the north, and put me as like reserve spot number 1 for the UK juniors that year. So what I did was I played rugby during the winter and did strongman during the summer.
Okay.
So then as I went through college and was playing rugby and stuff, I was like, right, I did a few different jobs, and eventually I was like, I'm going to start PTing, personal training, and set up a company called Eamonn Harford Training, real original. And was kind of finding that it was hard to maintain a company and a business and trying to play high level rugby Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays and Sundays. So I gave up the rugby and signed up for my first powerlifting competition. Because what I realised was the strongman's great and all, and it's great that people could like see me doing strongman, and I'd loads of the videos of pulling trucks, and I pulled like a 280 deadlift on an axle bar when I was like 20.
These numbers are just ridiculous.
But I kind of realised that I needed to do something that was more applicable to training.
Okay.
So at that stage, I'd already visited Westside, learned a little bit from Louis, and was really interested in programming and all that sort of stuff.
How long did you visit Westside for?
About 4 days.
Okay, cool.
So I was on a J1 in Chicago, and I got the bus down from Chicago to Ohio. They're pretty cool. Louis was insane, but he's a nice guy in person. Long story short, did the Battle of the Boyne, won the very first Battle of the Boynes, competed in the 125 class against VTech with Volkanovski, so obviously lost. So my first total was 625.
Okay.
That was a 190 squat, 155 bench, and 290 deadlift.
Okay. 290 deadlift in your first powerlifting meet.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were, for a second there, I was like, they were very close to my the numbers of my first comp, which is actually 190, 152, and 270. But then you said 290. It's like, never mind.
I did weigh like 125 kilos, so maybe it's comparable, Wilks and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sure.
yeah. So I Did strongman and powerlifting for the next 2 years. I competed in 22 competitions over 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Between
Powerlifting
powerlifting and
and
strongman?
yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Did your body hate you after that, or?
It wasn't too bad, you know. You were saying to me earlier about my work capacity. Like I've always had a really high work capacity in regards to just like never stop working, you know, that kind of way. So so I always was working hard. Like when I was in college, I was going to the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to college, to then go to rugby training, to come home, to go to work for that night for a couple of hours, and then go back to the gym.
Yeah. Just to give a bit of context on the work capacity thing. Eamonn works with RTS, Ross from RTS, right?
Ross Lapilla, yeah.
Ross Lapilla, and some of the sessions, like, you know, there's not too many guys I can see who, you know, in the kind of same body weight range as you, who can get through that amount of work.
Yeah.
It's massively impressive, you know, because the weights are so heavy that, you know, such high intensity that, like, some guys I see that would just go in, do heavy deadlift, do some back work, and then fuck off. But
Yeah.
it's kind of squat, deadlift, back off, and then accessory work, and then you're out.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Like there's weeks where I'd put maybe a 900 total up within 3 days, and that's also included volume work. They're my top sets.
Yeah.
That's
You know.
And that's the thing with the RTS is it's notorious for high volume training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we were saying earlier. Actually, well.
yeah. Sorry, I jumped ahead of it there. Sorry.
No, it's fine. So strongman, powerlifting, and kind of got good at both, but realized that I couldn't be great at both.
Okay.
So I was getting to a level where I was good, but I don't do just good. So if I do something, I want to be really, really great, really good at, really great at. Like I want to be the best I can be at. So I said, at the time, I was training a lot of powerlifters, and I had a good powerlifting training crew around me, that are mainly the members who are here now. So I said I'll stick to the powerlifting and go for 1,000 kilo total.
Yep.
And then when I get the 1,000 kilo total, then go to the strongman goal of getting to world strongest man.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years. So I went to nationals in 2017. I went from a 785 total, which I did previous to a 850 total.
Okay.
That was then that summer of August 2017. I hired RTS to prep me for WPC Worlds in Russia, which was in November, and I went from an 850 total to a 905 total. So I'm working away now, and the nationals I did there in March. I did 912 and a half total. So my best lifts are a 345 squat, 197 and a half bench, and a 370 deadlift.
Okay.
Very good. And so, like, I know we were talking a little about this before we started recording, but I was interested to know why you actually decided to seek out RTS for coaching, because you were following, at least to the best of my knowledge, more conjugate style training up until that.
I'm one of the very few guys in the country who's Westside qualified.
Okay.
Yeah. And I understand the conjugate principles very, very well, you know, and I still think it's a very good system. I fully believe that it's a very good system.
And maybe just before we move off that, so when people say that they understand conjugate, and you know, do you actually understand it? What are the misconceptions that a lot of people have with the conjugate system?
First of all, they think it's a Westside system. It's not. Conjugate's different than Westside. Okay. That's much like Westside is Westside barbell. That's Louis' take on conjugate, and that's the stuff that he's came up with. The biggest misconception that I see is that variation has to be crazy.
Okay.
So, if you want to use a variation, which is what they do, right, in the conjugate kind of Westside style, you only need to go 1 count pause.
So just a slight change.
Yeah, go close grip bench.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be 1 count pause with a box with 75 chains and 2 bands to the front. You know what I mean?
The fact that it's no longer replicating the competition lift. Yeah.
And then as long as you understand phasic structure, which is anybody who should be programmed should understand phasic structure.
Yep.
And this is where Chad Smith, when he did the critique of the Westside thing, he pointed out there's no phasic structure to conjugate. Whereas if you understand conjugate training, there is phasic structure to it. It's just a case of. But he did then go to Matt Wenning himself, so fair play to him, to then sit down with a guy who has a biomechanics degree and stuff, who understands Westside, who explained to him that there is phasic structure.
Yeah. Okay.
So there is. So the misconception is that there's so much variation. There's no phasic structure, and it's kind of just all crazy shit here, there, and everywhere. You know? So that would be like the biggest misconceptions. I would actually say it's one of the most complicated systems to understand, and that's why people get it wrong.
Right.
That, and then another thing is the probably the best way to put it. You understand the science of training, right? You probably do as well. I'm not too sure of your background, but people out there, you can't have a peak if you don't have a base.
Yep.
Right? What people don't understand about Westside training is, if you don't have the repetition effort method working well, if you don't have a high work capacity, doing all of your assistance work, what they talk about, all of the workouts, there will be no peak. And then what happens is injury happens. Because what people do is they use Westside training for ego.
Okay.
And they go in, do a max reverse band squat, do 1 or 2 sets of reverse high bring, walk out the door. No. When I was in Westside, those guys would make 90% of even bodybuilders look like chumps with the work they put themselves through.
Okay.
And that's the point. You know, the guys who train in Westside would chop off their own arm for 5 pounds on their squat. They will stay there until somebody tells them to go home to do more back extensions, more planks, more tricep extensions, and they will build that base of the pyramid so big that the peak is deserving of the work they put in. But it's only because you see the little videos of the peak, you never see the base work.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the biggest misconception, I would say. You know?
Yeah. And then following on from that, what was the motivation for seeking out RTS for coaching?
Well, I had noticed that the likes of Blaine Sumner, Brett Gibbs, Kelly Branton, they kind of all work with RTS. And I was really interested in the RP stuff, and I was interested in the RTS stuff. So I wanted to learn. So if I want to learn, I would hire. It's the best way to learn. So I decided to hire them so I could learn everything I could about RTS. And then steal it all. No, so that's kind of where I came up with the...
And did your perception of what you were getting yourself in for, was that different to what it actually was, or?
Well, one of the things was I didn't think I could recover and be able to like actually get through what I was being given. I was like, this is so much. You know what I mean? I was physically just like brain dead for weeks after sessions, you know what I mean? And I had my training partners like going, are you sure this is right? Are you sure it's not just like a template for a beginner lifter and he doesn't realize that you're pulling like, because at that stage I'd already pulled like 350 and I'd already squatted over 300 and benched 195 and stuff like, and I was like, which is okay, you know what I mean? It's not the best in the world, but it's not the worst in the world. And I was like, you know, I had sessions where I was like 1 at 8 was like 340 on the deadlift bar, and then I had like 5 sets of 3 at like 320. I was like, how am I supposed to even do? And then I had squats. Then I had bench. Then I had to do something else. You know.
Good old RTS.
But what I kind of realized then after a while was there's like nutrition, training, programming. These things can change how you get better at lifting. But one of the things that people don't realize is time. So you were talking last week with the weightlifting guys, or whenever you were talking to them, I was on the podcast about like the idea of 2 hours. Now, if you can still do quality work for 2.5 hours, that's half an hour extra work. So therefore, that's half an hour extra you can get better.
Okay.
So when I understood that, I was understanding the idea that maybe this is what I need to get better, is just to train longer. So I kind of just kept with it. My body recovered from it, and then started to kind of just eat. And now I have no issue training for 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah,
I'd go. So
and you like you said, you can adapt to anything. It's like when you come off just say a peak and you've been doing triples, doubles, singles, or whatever, and then you go back to 10s and maybe after 8s or whatever, and you're like, fuck, you know, my legs are killing me with these fucking 10s. But 3 weeks later, you're like, okay, they're okay now.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
So you do adapt, and you do. Even though 4 or 5 hours in the gym it definitely can be Could you find it tough mentally, or you kind of work out of it? Sometimes, like
No.
you're loving it here, so
But it's kind of I'm very like, this is what I do.
okay,
This is my job.
Yeah.
So when I'm training, this is my job.
okay,
And I'm very lucky that I have a wife that's very supporting. She's a powerlifter also, you know, and I have very good training partners around me, and it's kind of like that's it in a nutshell, you know, kind of way. And I don't have like now that I'm doing the gym full time, that I have more time, but at the same time, even when I wasn't doing gym, I'd still be here to 12 o'clock at night if I had to. It's just part of who I am, you know, that kind of way.
And that's probably a good point to segue into the gym itself. So maybe tell us a little bit about the gym, why you wanted to set it up, when you set it up, and who it caters for, really.
Yeah, so originally, basically, I used to PT in a gym in town, and I finished up with them because I wanted to kind of focus a bit more on more career.
Okay.
So my degree is applied psychology.
okay.
So I have a psychology degree, and while I was PTing in the other gym, I was also working as a one-to-one outreach / carer for autistic boy. 20 hours a week, one-to-one, and then I kind of just said finished with the whole kind of like, you know, the fitness industry and all that that crap of like waiting on money and having to sell yourself and all that. It's like, why don't I just go get a career and get a salary and start living a normal life, you know, that kind of way. But I got into it, did a bit of agency work, and eventually what was happening was that I was still training in the other gym, which was great, and I was training with my friends, but it just was like, it didn't feel right to be doing it. So I think a lot of it's the same reasons that when I'm training, I'm very like that.
Yeah.
So when I have to kind of follow other people's rules in regards to owning a gym, like this is the closing time, or this is like you're not allowed to do this, or you can't do this, it doesn't really sit with me. And I wouldn't be argumentative, but it's more a case of, okay, I'll just find something else.
Yeah.
So because I'm willing to do whatever it takes, you know, that kind of way. So like if I had to travel 3 hours to a gym every day, I would.
Yep.
So I'll do whatever it takes. So I won't put myself at that's just the way it is position.
Yeah.
So kind of got together with a few friends and we came up with the idea of opening this place. We opened the place up. Originally it was a powerlifting club while I was working in care. Kind of got that going for a little while. Didn't really work out so well because it was just like kind of serving two masters. You know, I was kind of thinking more about this place and trying to get this place going, and then having to try and be good at my job, and that wasn't really working. So
and train on top of that as well.
Yeah, train on top of that and do everything else that was required to be a normal person in life. Plan a wedding also when I was planning it. So took this place on full time. So we cater mainly for personal training. I train a lot of like guards, army, that sort of stuff, bouncers, that sort of stuff. We have a powerlifting team as well, about 15 members of that, and then like some 5 to 6 like online members.
Okay.
So that's kind of what we do. It's not really a public membership because everyone who's a member in here knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
So that allows me to do that kind of whole 4 or 5 hour sessions. So when I walk in at 5 o'clock and the place is open in the evening time, I don't have to worry about, is Johnny over there know what he's doing?
Yeah.
What's Jim Bob doing with those curls? They're not curls. Jesus, stop throwing the curls around.
Yeah.
Or Jay standing in front of the mirror putting his abs out. You know, that kind of way. So that's kind of the whole jazz. So one thing, if you are interested in drawing or whatever, give me a shout through the Facebook, whatever, and we can have a chat about what options suit you.
Yeah.
But it's very much kind of what suits you. You know, that kind of way.
Yeah.
I don't like the whole kind of like this is it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the things that was really cool about when you opened here, you managed to get Ed Cohen and Matt Wenning to open the gym for you, which is amazing, really.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So 3 years ago, I think, I bought a program off Matt Wenning because I wanted to learn more about content for raw lifting. So I buy things if I want to learn.
Yeah.
And he invited me over to live with him for a couple of weeks.
Wow.
So I bought tickets, went over to Ohio, lived with him for 12 days or so, and we kicked it off, and he was a really, really nice guy and whatever, and so always kind of talking whatever, and himself and Ed Cohen were at a Charles Poliquin seminar in Prague. Yes, Prague. And he'd messaged me saying, we're gonna come back through Ireland, stay overnight, and then fly back to America. So we kind of we were kind of in the process of getting the place together. Well, that'd be class to get them down to open it. So I said to Matt, I said, would you mind just popping in? Like, we can pop in and then go get some dinner. You don't have to, like, you guys are on holidays. This is not, I don't want to, and I was like, Matt was like, no, of course not. We'll open the place for you. So him and Ed opened the place for us, and it was class to kind of have that, you know, that kind of way.
It must have been a really special moment, I'd say.
Yeah. It's right up there, like, it's right up there. And like, I'd talk to Ed and talk a bit to Matt and stuff, like, they're really nice guys.
Yeah.
Ed's top notch.
Yeah, I've met Ed before. Ed's very funny online these days.
Yes,
on Instagram,
yeah.
Hilarious. He doesn't take himself seriously at all. He's
No.
so humble, like, it's amazing.
He's just so funny in general, like, it's like we're like, he was at the end, he was going into like his hotel, and was like, anywhere I can get cookies and milk. I always have cookies and milk when I go to bed. And it was like, it's like you're like the greatest of all time, and that's, you know what I mean? And it's like, how many nutrition experts are dying now hearing this?
Yeah.
You know,
It's just a slap in the face for them, really.
have you ever met Ed Cohen? Like,
me personally, no, but I have heard he's dead on, like.
yeah, but like he's like a mutant.
Yeah,
It's like
his hands.
but it's just he's shaped, and everything is like just like that. Somebody like said, we're gonna create a powerlifter, and it's Ed Cohen. You know, it's like when I met Eddie Hall, like he was the same. Like, he's just a mutant. Like, he's put together differently than other people. Like, I remember I went over to a strongman competition in England, and I met Eddie Hall, and Eddie Hall was out getting his training partner ready for the deadlift, and Benny Magnuson was out getting his training partner for the deadlift, and they were standing beside each other, and it was like a man and a child.
Wow, really? And Benny is not small?
No.
Benny is not
but Eddie is just put together differently.
Right, okay. It's just stacked.
Yeah, you know, did you ever meet like Blessing? You know, Blessing the...
Yeah. Funny story, I shared a stage with Blessing about 6 years ago.
Oh, yeah. But like, if you look at Blessing...
That was interesting.
Like, I've never met Blessing, but when I see him, I can see that he's just put together differently than me or you. You know, that
definitely me anyway.
And that's why he's going to be a pro.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of way. That's the whole point. Like, some people are just put together differently.
Yeah.
Especially strongman. Strongmen are just different animals altogether.
They have to be you have to be a bit, I guess, like, do you know the way, just say for sparring, right? First cue is like, okay, brace really hard, and, you know, keep a good line and stuff like that. For strongman, sometimes you just have to literally just do whatever it takes to move whatever object you need to move, and you can't double think it or brace too hard, because I remember you came down to train.
I was just thinking it,
Yeah, so Arthur came down to train in our gym with Vitas, and you were using the log, trying to brace your core, and he was like, just pick it up. You know, just literally pick it up and put it over your head.
Well, my question was like, have you ever passed out on a log press? Because I've passed out a couple of times on an overhead, like a barbell overhead press.
Yeah.
And his answer to that was, well, no, because you see this thing where when you get it up here, and it's like, see, when I do it, I just take it up and I press it over my head. He doesn't brace the same way I do, so he's not, like, obviously, you know, he's not building up the same amount of pressure inside that I am, you know.
Here's an interesting question, though. Do you think some of the reasons why the Eastern Bloc lifters are better than most of the Western Bloc lifters is they think a little bit less about it? So like that kind of like we have all these cues and we have all these ideas, and they're like, just lift it. And you're like, okay. Like Savickas, I heard Savickas, like, he was delivering a log press seminar, and it was just like, what are all these questions?
Yeah.
Another one was Ilya Ilyin. He was over in America, and some guy was asking about no hand, no hook, no hand snatches, or single leg this and everything. And he was like, the hell are you talking about? We snatch and we clean and jerk and we squat. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we do.
And it's great hearing that sometimes, in that, you know, the guys who are on the top, their views on things are much more simplistic than, you know, than maybe the up and comer. But like, the counter argument to that would be, well, they're the best in the world, so they obviously have something in the way of a genetic advantage. So perhaps these things maybe come to them a little bit easier?
Well, Eddie Cohen is a good example of that. Like, you know, when you go to his seminar now, he is very technical when it comes to certain aspects of the squat, bench, and deadlift, of course. But his training plan was just linear all the time, right? Just he did fives, he did threes, he did. I don't ever think he did singles in training, did he?
Doubles.
And
I think he might pull a single deadlifts.
Yeah.
Because that was a bit more two singles rather than one set of two.
Yeah, and that was it. Take a week off and then compete.
Yeah.
You know, so and he was the best. He didn't overthink anything.
Yeah. One concept that Eddie had, and Conjugate would have it, is the idea that technique is driven by muscle, or technique is driven by like actual hypertrophy. So this kind of idea that if you needed to say arch more on your bench press, or say not arch more on your bench, let's say keep your back straight on a deadlift.
Yeah.
Then no matter how much you cue it, it's not going to get any better. So doing stiff legs will get it better.
So just putting more muscle in the area so
Yeah.
you can flex better. Yeah.
That kind of idea. It's a cool idea. I like it. So,
there's some bodybuilders as well who I think there's a story that Mark Bell and Stan Efferding were training together, and Mark was doing these box squats, and Stan had never done a box squat before, and he couldn't get it in his head to contract his muscles the way Mark did it, and then he just said once, "Oh, I just flexed my legs like this. Okay, I got it." And he was just banging out and destroyed everyone in it, you know. So again, it's just
that's Jake.
Yeah.
That's Jake in this place.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's nothing I can put Jake under and he doesn't squat.
It's a great way to be.
It's just a freak. Like,
So for anyone who doesn't know, we're talking about Jake Brennan.
Yeah.
So maybe tell us a little bit about him, like how much of a freak he is.
Well, Jake left Ireland, never really lifting weights. Went to Australia, hooked up with a place called Slaughterhouse over there. Learned off a really good coach called Barry and Ange and stuff. Came back 2 years ago in October, and perfect squat form and just perfect everything kind of form. And he's just a freak of nature when it comes to squatting. He's a great lifter in general. Like, he's an 895 total, or 890, 895, with a 370 squat.
Wow.
But there's not a variation that you can kind of put together that Jake can't do.
Right.
You take a lot to throw him, or you can't throw him.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't. Like, it's like I've actually had to get to the point where we cut a lot of the exercise because like you know the way like accommodating resistance, 10% is kind of the most you want to get on top of what you can do.
Okay.
And then it's kind of non-transferable. So, but he was like doing like 350 camber bar squats with like 200 kilos of chains. And you're like, that's not possible. so we had to like pull him back and like do like beltless sets of 5, but then he's able to still do like 300 kilos for a set of 5 on squat with a belt. You know. So like,
I feel so weak every time I talk to people. I hear these kind of numbers like. Jesus.
Yeah, and one of the things that's a little bit unique about yourself, Eamonn, in contrast with other guests we've had, is that you're an IPO lifter, you're not an IPF lifter.
Yeah.
So maybe talk to us about, so for example, with the IPO, you have knee wraps, a squat bar, and a deadlift bar, for example, and 24
we have a
hour
Killian
wins.
also.
Yeah, we have Killian as well. Can't forget him.
Yeah.
But maybe just talk to us a little bit about some of the differences due to those factors, you know, in terms of how that might impact the numbers you get on the day. Like, for example, how much do you actually get out of a deadlift bar versus a regular stiff Alico bar?
So my best pull on a stiff bar, which I haven't tested this training cycle, so I don't know, is 355. That's in training, and I pulled 342.5 last year at the abs competition, but I only got off crutches that week. So
you tore your hamstring, something,
my
wasn't it?
quad.
Yeah.
So I got off the hamstring. I got off the crutches on the Monday and pulled 342 on the Saturday.
With one quad.
Yes. So you don't need quads for deadlifting, people.
Or only just need one, maybe.
Yeah. So 355, and then my best deadlift on a deadlift bar is 370.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
25 kilos maybe, but it does, like, if you get, like, that's not the same as like someone pulling 120 and pulling 140. because the more plates you have,
The whippier.
the more the whip you get.
Yes, yeah.
So like I think it only really applies to people pulling over 3. To
Okay.
be honest with you, personally, I don't really ever feel any difference between the two until it's over 3.
Yeah, I mean the bar is not going to flex a whole lot with 2 plates either side.
No, it's
you know?
not. No.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that'd be the difference. Probably the biggest one would be the squat bar and the knee wraps.
Yeah.
You know, like a squat bar can be between 29 millimeters and 32 millimeters in thickness. It's 8 to 8.5 foot long, and it's 25 kilos. Whereas on Lico, 24 millimeters, 25 millimeters or something, is it?
28, I think.
28.
28, yeah.
So therefore, probably 32 to 35 would actually be the squat bar because it's thicker. And then it's 20 kilos. That's shorter. The Lico is shorter.
Is it 28 or 29? I feel like the weightlifting bar is 28.
Or is it a
Anyway,
yeah.
Lico is this size.
Yeah.
Squat bar is this size. So the thickness would allow for different placement of like the bar. Like we have a Sportscraft a Sakari bar from Finland, and that won't even bend with 400 plus on it. But also like it will stick to you because it's knurled the entire way.
Okay. So the whole bar is knurled. Yeah, except for the obviously the grooves on it.
Yeah. And then knee wraps, like my best squat variation without knee wraps and sleeves is 300 kilo paused. And then my best squat in wraps is 350. I've done 345 in comp.
Okay. So you do get a bit out of the wraps, but
yeah.
Then again, like you don't really push your sleeve squat enough to actually tell the difference.
I don't know. I don't know how much I'd squat in sleeves. Maybe 330 or 340 if I really pushed it. If I peaked.
Yeah.
So, but I know, like say, Jake's correlation is about 25%.
Okay.
Oh, wow,
So I think his best sleeve squats are around 350 ish, and his best wrap squats 400.
Damn.
So
It's a big squat.
yeah.
Very good.
So
So would you say that the squat bar itself makes an appreciable difference?
it does for the bigger guys, yeah, because of the flexibility thing as well. Like I went for dinner with Bill Casmar because he was here for a seminar down the other gym, and he was saying if he had a squat bar, he would have benched 700 in full power because he was tearing his pecs getting underneath a normal bar because it was so
Jesus.
his pecs were so tight and so pumped from all because he was a repetition monster.
Yeah.
So, but he was always so tight that when he tried to get underneath a squat bar, he'd end up having to tear his pecs to get underneath it. Where if he had a normal bar, power bar, if he had a squat bar, he'd be able to get his hands underneath it a bit more easier, and therefore be able to squat without tearing his pecs.
And that used to ruin his bench, obviously.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that'd be the biggest difference. Then you got the monolift as well. Like the monolift is, you don't have to walk it out. Now some people talk about walking out and not walking out, but the biggest squatters at the moment, like Chad Wesley Spin and Malinchef and these guys, they walk stuff out. You know what I mean? And then you look at the US Open, there's massive squats being walked out.
Yeah.
So I think it just comes down to just taking a bit of time. But you'll agree with me on this. Strong is strong. So if a guy can squat 400 kilos, he'll figure out how to squat it walked out.
Exactly, yeah. It's not making
like,
that much of a difference. It's the difference between a guy being strong and not strong.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
It's where you see the difference is when the guys are like really pedantic, but they're not even strong.
Yeah.
Just like focus on getting stronger first, and then maybe we can talk about the hyperlordosis of your left VMO. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of the way I think of that. Like,
and today, then obviously, a lot of people kind of say, or maybe the knee sleeves are similar to a knee wrap, or does the knee wraps instantly give you kilos on your squat? But Arthur tried that today, and how did it go?
Well, I can definitely after today, I can honestly say that is 100% not true, and
it's a different squat.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's a different squat. Like not only was I trying the wraps for the first time today, but I to use them properly. Like there was the set where I tried to squat the way I normally do, and I literally couldn't get beyond quarter squat depth.
Yeah,
so off squat.
Yeah, exactly. So
maximum gains.
Half squat variation.
But the thing is that not only was I trying the wraps, but I also had to change my technique. So it's just it's different, as well as the fact that like like getting into a tight knee sleeve is in no way comparable with knee wraps.
Yeah.
You know.
Just to say on that, if anybody ever wants to try knee wraps, you're always welcome up.
Yep.
We'll break everybody's virginity.
And their soul.
Yeah. And I just noticed like that, now eventually, if Arthur continued to train consistently with knee wraps, he would eventually more than likely surpass his raw squat, right?
Yeah, squat 300 probably.
Yeah. But it would take an awful lot of time, and well, hopefully it doesn't, because the Abs Pro is only around the corner. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like from my own point of view, it's a very interesting learning experience just to even try them just for this whatever 8 or 9 week block, or what was it, 7 weeks. Because like now I can actually know what the difference is between the knee wraps versus the sleeves, rather than actually just taking people's word from it.
Yeah.
So I thank you for that always. Also, so
Next time we'll actually put them tight.
Well, we tried that.
Yeah.
And he really died.
No, that was only a 6.
Oh wow! Right.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah,
So-
that was only a 6.
so
there's a like you can get them a lot tighter.
Yeah. So the first couple of times was about a 3 out of 10 tightness, and then the one where I literally just couldn't move was a 6.
Yeah.
So
That was funny.
funny or terrifying, I'm not really sure. So, Eamonn, what would be your, for now anyway, I mean, you talked about the £1,000 total, but are there any short-term goals you're focusing on?
I
or
think he's got
obviously
£1,000 total, Arthur.
the abs pro?
Yeah. I want to win the Abs Pro.
Yep.
Now that's not being an egotistical thing. Like I have one of the biggest totals in Irish history, Raw, Classic, whatever. I have the biggest deadlift of all time, and this is my life, So I want to come away with a win. I want to win something that's competitive. Like I won WPC Worlds. There's no one else in my class.
Yeah.
I win nationals, but there's only ever like Jake or something in my class. Like in a way. And at that time we were doing. He had Irish Pro in a couple of weeks, so he didn't go full board. I didn't go full board because I had deadlifts and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like.
No, it's fine.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm getting
So
at
like
is,
I want to win Abs Pro to put myself there as one of the top lifters to beat the other guys, because it is a fantastic lineup. Like
absolutely.
Yeah, so.
I probably phrased the question incorrectly. What I kind of was getting at was sort of, so obviously there's the goal with the total, but is there any particularly, like any particular milestones with regards to the individual lifts? Like I know you're approaching a 400 kilo deadlift.
Yeah,
right now,
yeah. So I said when I was 17 that I would go 400 before I was 18, before I was 30. So that's the plan. So I plan to have a shot at Abs Pro on Alico.
You've had a cut off before, right?
Yeah, I took it there, IPO Nationals there in March. I got it to my knee. And
It's actually so close. I remember watching it.
So,
Yeah.
but my position from the floor was off, so I would never get it.
Yeah.
So, so I want the 400 kilo. I want to squat 800 pounds as well.
Yeah.
It's 365. I don't 362, but 365.
Yeah.
And I want to bench 500 pounds. But the bench will come, But they're kind of my little milestones. But I very much try to encourage everybody, plus myself, to focus on the total, not anything else.
Okay. Yeah.
So you don't sacrifice a good total for a big lift. Like at nationals, I'd already won. I'd won best lifter. I'd hit my 500 Wilks, and I already took the all-time deadlift record. So I was like, I'll just go YOLO for the 400
May as well horse on 400
Yeah.
see.
and see,
Like,
give it a shot, because 370 moved really easy.
yeah.
So.
Yeah. And
What about you? What would you like to do for Abs Pro?
600 squat.
I would be quite content with a 270 squat, and get over a 180 bench, because it's really been bugging me now for a while. It's Worlds was the 4th comp I finished on 180.
Right.
So that's kind of just a bit of a frustration of mine for the last year now, right? I guess.
He's bench 185
And deadlift I don't really know, but we'll see. I'm just really looking forward to it because just as a spectacle, I think it's going to be amazing. Because last year I really enjoyed.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
This is like, another step further with, Gino, live band, Fire Breathers again, and the lineup is amazing.
Yeah.
It's all the best lifters in Ireland are competing
Yeah.
against each other with Wilkes. No weight classes. There is a weight classes?
It's Wilkes 24-hour
Wilkes,
weigh-in
yeah.
though.
Yeah, Wilkes 24-hour weigh-in, yeah. So there'll be a lot of lads doing big cuts and all that.
Are you gonna
kind of
cut?
I'll probably cut a little bit, nothing crazy, I'd say.
What would be the max you'd cut for a comp?
I don't.
You don't?
No, I
What would
normally
be the max you would recommend or work with people?
like
For
generally.
yourself, like for people you work with, not as a guideline for all you people out there. I just said I can cut 12%.
You can use me as an example if you want. Like I've cut like 3 or 4 kilos into the 83s. So
So like usually within about 1% a week out, 1 or 2%
yeah.
a week out of where you need to be.
Yeah.
But like obviously the bigger you are, the more leeway
Yeah.
in terms of like you'll have more. It's easier to fluctuate the bigger you are,
Yeah.
That's with 2-hour weigh-ins normally too. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
24-hour
different.
weigh-in,
Yeah.
so it's different.
I've done 13 kilos only before.
13
Yeah.
kg.
So this is the thing as well, is because I haven't even cut much at all for the 2-hour weigh-in. So the 24-hour weigh-in is kind of a different beast altogether. So I don't really know
Yeah.
but whether it would be obviously it would benefit Wilkes and all that, but
How it affects your performance. and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So I don't know if I want to try that for the first time at this kind of a comp.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
yeah,
Just skip the dinner that day before you weigh in, and then
something like that maybe. Yeah, just eat a little bit less.
Arthur recently. I always slag Arthur because he hasn't quite filled out the 93 kilo class yet.
No.
And
You get a bigger chin.
but he recently went up a belt buckle size. So
I
or
did,
size of
yes.
his belt. So that's,
So you were very happy with it that day
I
when
was.
told you.
Yeah, I was actually quite content because I'm
Would
always
you be
slagging him.
would you be very would you be
No.
very clean with your diet, or what kind of way would you work?
Yes.
For the most part, yeah. I just I don't gravitate towards eating a lot of shite for the most part. I am well known for my love of ice cream. But, that
Who
would
doesn't
be-
love ice cream?
Yeah, exactly. But
Don't love ice cream, we're coming for you.
but for the most part, yeah, just habitually, generally, eat well,
Yeah.
Um,
Arthur doesn't use any sauces on his food, like ketchup and mayonnaise.
Loads of salt, I heard.
Loads of sauce.
well, the sauce thing is just a general personal preference,
Yeah.
I'm just a bit odd that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
You excited for the outro?
Questions? Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Who are the kind of the main contenders? Obviously, there's yourself, Nero, Barry Piggott, probably.
Yeah.
Clarence
Kennedy,
The Wizard.
the Wizard,
Wizard of Oz.
Killian there as well. So.
Yeah, Killian should be interesting.
Yeah.
Do you guys know I used to be Killian's first coach? I got him into Paraffin.
Did you?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can apologise to the camera now for everybody. No, we like it.
No, Killian's a good guy.
He is. It's great.
He's just young. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a good guy, and when I was working on him, he was very young, and he kind of just it was very hard to coach him.
Yeah.
Not in a really bad way, but it was like he wanted to do everything. You know,
Yeah.
in a way,
Yeah.
and he it was like, but that's the same thing with everyone you're coaching them. You know, that kind of way. If
Yeah.
they're young, it's hard to kind of keep them on track and keep them going.
They don't have the perspective really.
Or patience.
Yeah.
Because the thing about Killian, he's looking at weights and getting stronger, and it was like, just hold back, relax,
Yeah,
relax.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Just wait till the competition and it'll come. And then the first competition he did with me, he pulled a 30 kilo PR, pulled 290 in GBC.
Yeah.
But the best he had pulled was 270 in the gym.
Okay.
You know, I'm a big advocate of that, by the way. Kind of sub-maximal training for deadlift. So.
Yeah, 340 for a 2 comp ball was so maximal today.
It is. It is. You know
No,
what I
it
mean?
was. It was so easy. Jeez.
Yeah.
No belt.
Well, as you say, that's what an 8 is meant to be.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And that's kind of deadlifts have always kind of came really, really easy to me.
Yeah.
You know. So.
And you're not particularly you're not just say Yuri Belkin where you're massively upright. You just kind of, it just looks.
It's okay. You
natural
can
to
call me a horse. It's okay.
Yeah, but it's not like a yanking up or anything. It's just well leveraged, well thought out, and you just pull it.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I constantly try to make it better,
Yeah.
position wise, and then just constantly working on it, make it better.
And that's the thing with a lot of the bigger generally super heavyweights, a lot of them when they get into deadlift position, it looks super awkward for them, and they're just like they really have to sit into it.
Yeah.
Whereas you don't have that problem.
No, because I don't have legs, I just have a back. I'm just pull my back.
Lads, I'm just conscious of time. It's 8 minutes past 8.
That's fine. We can go 5 more minutes and then.
Cool.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, like that's kind of. I used to pull very stiff leg, like even a lot more than I do now. But I've through bringing my squat up, my deadlift has gotten to a better position.
Okay.
So that's one thing people don't do enough, in my opinion, is they don't think of their squat helping their deadlift rather than their 2 separate lifts.
Yeah, pretty good.
So,
Absolutely. And so just before we finish up, so you obviously offer your coaching through the gym itself, but you offer online services as well. Is that through the gym or through?
Just through the gym or just Facebook and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I try I'm not like RTS and stuff. These guys have fantastic websites. Like you have a great website and you have all these systems put in place. My coaching is more like one-to-one kind of WhatsApps and programs and until I kind of get an IT guy to come along and kind of put those things. But I use like the RTS training logs with my guys. They all use that, and that's how I keep track of them because it's free.
Yeah.
So it's a really great service.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
So it's just contact me if you want, but if you don't want, it's okay. No.
But through Instagram or Facebook, anyone can.
Instagram or Facebook, anybody can do. So I want to put a question to you, right? IPF aficionado.
Oh.
If the IPF allowed the likes of Kelly Branton and Ray Williams and these guys to compete at a competition like Big Dogs, do you think they would win? So they'd have to learn how to use a mono and a squat bar and knee wraps.
Ray, I think, would be a big contender. He's not big, but I think because he uses a monolift in training and the way he's able to get himself into a good position on a stiff bar deadlift the size that he is, and he doesn't really rely on his bench. I think you put a pair of knee wraps on him, he learns to use them. I think he's squatting over 5 and he's going to be able to pull over 4.
Yeah, and the thing is as well is like, his bench isn't that bad that he's screwed coming into deadlift.
No.
It's still
it's like
good
240,
enough.
250.
Yeah.
And he's kind of said that himself, that he's kind of like, I'm happy enough with it. It's enough. So where it's not a deficit to my total, I just bench 240 or something.
I mean, he benched I think it was about 242 at Worlds this year, and it was fine. It looked like a second attempt, in a way.
But do you think though, one of the big issues that some of the bigger lifters get with the squat bar and the knee wraps, because it's heavier weight, you get more tendonitis. So therefore your bench would come down.
It would probably be just case by case, I guess. Yeah. It'd be an interesting one to think about.
My honest opinion is I think actually Kelly Brandon would get the most out of the knee wraps because he squats the widest and he squats back the most.
That's a good point.
Compared, you found out today, if you're able to squat back, you get more out of knee wraps compared to Ray Williams' knee break where he goes forward, and that kind of like he might be able to surpass Ray's kind of numbers because he's more efficiently more already kind of suited for that style of squats. Does that make sense?
Ray breaks hard with the knees.
And then.
Which is actually, now this is just one that I've thought of now myself, is a guy like a John Hack who seems to really struggle with the wraps. Is that pretty much down to the way he squats?
Yeah, his whole kind of knee straight forward squat doesn't do anything with the knee wraps, in my opinion.
His coach came out and said that, Joey said, the way he squats is perfect for knee wraps, but I was thinking in my head, I was like, no. I could, like, mechanically in my head I couldn't.
Well,
see
if you were to watch Big Dogs last year, no one squats like he does.
Yeah.
So it's simple. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way you do it. Like that's one thing I always do. Like take say 4 of the top guys and 4 best sumo putters. What do they all do? Say one thing.
Yeah.
And then go, that's what you should be doing. You know that kind of way? Rather than looking at like one person and go, that's what he does, so I do that.
Yeah.
Nobody in Big Dogs will squat the way John Hack does.
Yeah.
Nobody in the US Open, apart from John Hack, will squat that way.
Yeah.
Belka doesn't squat that way. Chris Duffin doesn't squat that way. These guys are all in the same weight class, don't squat that way.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
So therefore, but like I'm not John Hack, and John Hack's an amazing lifter, and his coach is a smart guy. But if he learned to bring his stance out a little bit and then he'll drive out in the knee wraps a bit more, he could get more out of it.
Yeah. It's kind of he keeps hurting his quads as well. So that's probably why the way he squats is putting a lot of pressure on his quads with the wraps, probably.
Yeah, exactly, and it's not gonna. Like Dennis Cornelius kind of seems to be able to transfer over to it better because he already squats that way.
Yeah.
You know,
He's
so
a monster, man.
I'd love for that to happen though. I'd love for the IPF to kind of lift that rule for invitationals. You know, in a way,
They should too.
it allows the lifters to make money, which is the big thing.
Yeah.
I guess the fear they have is that the lifters would prioritise those money meets over the IPF Worlds, you know.
Yeah, which has happened in the other federations.
It's kind of like rugby, really, isn't it? Where they like within, just say for example, with Ireland, they try to stop the guys going abroad where they can make more money by cutting them from the national team. You know, I guess it's like they're trying to deter them from chasing money by, you know, putting this extrinsic motivator on them, like, you know. Or constraint.
But it's like rugby has an international body, and so does like a proper international body. Like powerlifting is not in the Olympics. We don't have the IOC. We have decided that squat, bench, deadlift are the lifts. When originally powerlifting started, it was squat, bench, bicep curl. And there was overhead press and there was pull-ups.
The good old days.
So, you know what I mean? Like, we developed the construct based off what we believe is the best idea. So, we have the ability to change that construct for the betterness of powerlifting. But it just feels like no one wants to, every decision that tends to drive it forward has like roadblocks attached to it, and if they kind of all came together and understood that the best driving forward would be to allow everyone to compete against everybody and let them make their own choices on whatever decisions they want to make, like, I guarantee if IPF turned around and said, we'll let these guys compete at big dogs, but we want a tester to be there,
that's fine.
the guys who run big dogs will have no issue with it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be like, no, there's no chance, because they just want the guys to be there.
They don't care. If you want to test them on the day.
You know, that kind of way. It's I don't know it's very like, controversial, but it's just like, I just want to see all the biggest dudes in the world fucking smash it out. And just,
that's the thing that we all do. But for whatever reason, it's not gonna. At least it doesn't appear like it's going to happen in the near future.
And will England win the World Cup? Will England win the World Cup?
Who knows?
I'm just going to finish it off on that note.
Did they win today?
I don't know. Did they?
They did.
Did they? Wow.
There you go.
And Belgium beat Brazil as well.
And Croatia won all over Russia.
Come on, Russia. I haven't been a pool.
Okay, so we're getting slightly off topic.
No, we have to go. So look, we'll leave it at that. Thanks a million. Thank you very much, Eamonn.
Yeah.
No bother.
And if you want to find you, what's your Instagram handle? Just
At Eamonn Strong.
Eamonn Strong, cool.
And Leah Barbell.
Nick Barbell as well. And NoLiftPowerlifting.com, at NoLiftPowerlifting Instagram. Thank you very much to our sponsors, Sigma Powerlifting Coaching and Titan Ireland. And okay, bye.
And just before we wrap up, if you like this video, make sure to click like on the video and subscribe for notifications of future videos. And as always, a massive thank you to the man who makes this all possible, our videographer, Loud Mike.
He's not that loud today. Okay.